As you know, last week, here on the show, we were just going through a news flash, MS.ABA and myself, and then we touched on this topic, the fix the country that's been, going on, in the media, as we've seen from abroad, right? So we felt it's something we should get involved in, or let's say at least as from a media perspective in the diaspora. And since High Radio has a mission statement to be the voice of the next generation, beautiful. But then the research think tank, which is Candifo's Institute, where you are the head of, what is your projection for the second half of the year in Ghana? Is it at the end of the year, life is back to normal, or what do you predict?
And so thank you very much, Donny. I think that by the end of 2021, Ghana would have vaccinated close to 70 to 75% of its population.
Okay.
Now, this is purely on accordance to those that have taken their first vaccine and those that have taken their second vaccine. Mm-hmm. We know that when we had the first vaccine, we had close to about thousands of people, frontliners, people that were aged, people that had underlying issues, most of them who had their first vaccination. Same with the second vaccine. And so we are going to have a third one where persons that never had the first vaccine and had the second vaccine are going to have their first vaccine. Okay. And so the vaccination are in phases. We predict very strongly that by the time we usher ourselves into January 2022, Ghana would be a safe place where almost everybody would have been vaccinated.
Let's dive right into it. Fix the country. Fix the country, something that came on our radio radar last week and the week before. But I am here. MS.ABA was here. High Radio is operated from the city of Amsterdam. All we know, all we see is what's being shown on the media. Yet this same media is the medium where actually gave the youth or those in Ghana the power and the voice, to give their conditions, their experience, their opinions, what's happening in the country, in Ghana. So I wanted to pose that question to you. What is happening in Ghana? What is this Fix the Country campaign media that we're hearing of? Can you please give us, from your perspective, an understanding or information on this matter?
Thank you very much, Donny. And the conversation around Fix the Country, I've had an opportunity to discuss it on various media platforms. Okay. And the Institute as well has brought out a number of publications and research papers to be able to situate it in context. Now, Donny, it is important that we do not politicize the issue of fixing the country. We all are very much aware the parts and type of democracy that we practice on the continent of Africa. Mm-hmm. Our leaders have very minimal time to be able to bring transformation. We run democracy where a leader has an opportunity to do a 4-year tenure in terms of a one term, to do 4 years in presidency. And if the good people of the country believe that you have served well, they give you a second term of a 4-year. Let's go through the conversations very well. Right. Now, the conversation around Fix the Country is indeed a very healthy conversation. Why do I say it's healthy? It's very healthy because in this country, the statistics shows that 52% of Ghana's population are under the age of 25. Mm-hmm. And Donny, it will shock you to know that this 52% of Ghana's population under the age of 25, 1.2 million Ghanaians, young people, 1.2 million young people are unemployed.
Okay.
That is not an interesting thing to say. Mm-hmm. That for a third world developing country, you have 1.2 million young people unemployed. Now, that cannot be politicized. That cannot be worn an MPP color, neither can it be worn an NDC color, neither can it be worn a CDP color. That must be worn a nationalistic color. Nationalistic color that we need to ensure that we reduce to the barest minimum a zero employment level. Society has given us 7 pillars, which is used to be able to build a country. Mm-hmm. The 7 pillars, in no order of importance, is the religious pillar. The religious pillar is a critical pillar if you want to be able to build a country you do not need to neglect. The entertainment and media is another pillar you do not need to neglect. Governance is another pillar you do not need to neglect.
Right.
Business and commerce is another pillar you do not need to neglect. Education is another pillar you do not need to neglect. ICT and technology is another pillar you do not need to neglect. Now, Donny, having cited all these holistic pillars, we have a huge concern. And as a younger person with the rest of my colleagues, we have a huge concern on where our country is headed to as a country. Now, we live in this country, Ghana, where every single political party develops its own political, ideological policies to be able to develop this country. Donny, we cannot continue like this. We need to situate the development of this country under the National Development Planning Commission ideology and plan. When we situate that, every single political party would develop their own policies based on the National Development Planning Commission strategy. We need to ensure that we want to be able to see a Ghana that is developed beyond political party colors.
Right.
Until we do that, my brother, I think that the greater concern of the Fix the Country needs to be taken as collective responsibility. It is the total collective responsibility of every single person. Either you are being ruled or you are being governed, and either you're being led or you are leading. It is our collective responsibility.
That's
the
true.
present. The present is our future, and that is all that we have. I think that we need to hold a conversation around entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Many of the young Ghanaians do not seek entrepreneurial opportunities. They rather want to be employed. Donny, I'll tell you an example.
Okay.
If I am not entrepreneurial, I will be part of the unemployed people in this country. That's the basic truth. And other persons who are employed by themselves, if they were not entrepreneurial, they themselves would have been unemployed. And so if you go to the university and you don't take internship opportunities, and you finish the university and you do national service for 1 year,
right,
and after national service you are not employed, you come to become part of the unemployed people. But then you should almost always decide that I am not going to be part of an unemployed people.
Okay.
If no one is going to employ me, what am I going to do? I would employ myself. Find a problem in society and fix the problem. By way of fixing the problem, you are going to start employing yourself.
I have Ernest Oklite, who is saying, with respect to Greater Accra Regional Minister, even his own members of parliament are against action in the capital city, which is so sad. Ernest says. And I have another question that is the key examples of how to bring change, but where does it start? So you Brother Palgrave, you've touched on so many things, from discipline, which I find extremely important, not only to the youth but as well as to the leadership, because I feel like their lack of function or their lack of leadership is due to indiscipline. They're not disciplined enough. But so there are so many, there's so many aspects, but where do we start? Where does one start? How do we, what should be the first step for Ghana in its entirety, to take? Which steps should they take first?
If you work for the government and you're a civil servant, you should say that I'm going to go to work early because I want Ghana to develop. I'm going to close work late because I want Ghana to develop. I'm not going to say that my boss is not in, and so I'm going to play on social media, be on Facebook, on WhatsApp, and spend the taxpayers' money, 9 hours of government's productive work. You are using it to do social media. We need to have value-driven young people. Remember that many of the young people in this country, Ghana, are not value-driven, and that is the truth. If we talk about 1.2 million young people unemployed, though it is a high rocketing number, the question to ask is, if all these 1.2 million young people are employed, will they be able to meet up to the employment criteria, will they
That
be able to sustain their work?
that is a legit question to ask ourselves, to ask the young ones as well.